And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I'm a big fan of deduction games. I'm a big fan of two-player games. And I'm really impressed that Martinique, a two-player game designed around the pirate ship theme, but oh, hey, it actually works. And it's a logic game, and it's a fun two-player game. It's one that I really enjoy and have a lot of fun playing. And so let's take a look at the game. Here be the board, and on the board it's basically like a grid and you're trying to figure out where treasure is. There's numbers on one side and letters on the other side. And you have two piles of tiles here, and one pile that you have sorted out is the pile of numbers and the other side is the pile of tiles. And so one letter and one number are taken aside secretly, neither player looking at it, and placed over here, and that shows you the location of the treasure. Two more are placed here in the hook bar, and then the rest are placed, after shuffling them of course, randomly around the board. Then we set up the rest of the board. The game takes place in two parts, and the first part has what I would say is kind of like almost a setup phase, as you send your pirates out to find treasure. And on this phase, you'll be using your pirates, which are black and red for the different players. And then on your turn, you have one of two choices. You can either place a pirate on one of the edges of the beach all around the board, or you can move a pirate. When moving a pirate, you simply look at the tile that the pirate is standing on and look at the number on it, and then you can move the pirate that many spaces. So this pirate's on a 1, so he must move 1. After you do so, the tile that you were on is the tile that you get, and you keep those tiles in front of you. If you get any treasure tiles, of course, you can look and see a letter or a number that the treasure is not at. Of course, that's information your opponent would like to know. If someone is able to move their pirate through another pirate, you can never move to an empty space, you can never move onto a pirate, but if you move through a pirate, you're able to take one of their treasure tiles from them. Then you both know that that letter is no good. That doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Eventually, your pirate will be forced to move to an empty spot, or can't move at all, or moves to the middle here, to the hook, and at that point, you go to the bar. And the bar will slowly fill up as you run out of tiles. Now, why are you collecting these tiles? Well, you know why you're collecting the treasure tiles, so you can figure out where the treasure isn't. Or even if you go to the bar, you can take one of the two tiles or get one of these joker tiles, which counts as any treasure. But the reason you're collecting these treasures is if you ever match one of these groups of treasure over here. We have a group of 2, a group of 3, a group of 4. Let's say, for example, I have 2 guns, a parrot, and gunpowder in front of me. So I can just turn those in and collect this because it matches it. This then becomes treasure that I can keep in my hold, and I put it in a pile face down there. We refill this from the bag, and the game continues. Those are small treasures. So all this takes place until all the pirates, all 8 pirates from both sides, are finally in the bar. And then the second part of the game begins, which is basically trying to find the treasure. In order, as from the pirate sent to the bar, each player will put their pirate on a coordinate where they think the treasure is. Well, we'll get to that more in a minute. At least where they probably think the treasure is. And that will continue as the pirates put them out all over the board in different spots, whether there's a tile there or not. And then you turn over. It's in D2. If someone placed their pirate at D2, which nobody did here, they would immediately win. However, if that doesn't happen, then you collect victory points depending on how many loads of treasure you've gotten, how many points are on them, identical tiles in their personal supply, blah, blah, blah. However, usually one person will figure out where the treasure is, but if that doesn't work, then collecting all those tiles, and this is an important thing. Either way, somebody's going to win. Alright, so Martinique is not the piratesty of games that there be. It's a fun logic game, and it's fun two-player game as you search for the different treasures, but it's really just trying to outguess your opponent at the end. Collecting all that treasure, if that was all there was in the game, I'd find that bland. Ooh, I can move here, I can move there. It's all about that last part that really grips me about the game. Because after a while, you start saying, hey, I need to watch where my opponent's placing. If he placed it in row D, and I don't have row D, then neither does he, so he must know it's in row D. And therefore, then I can start putting all my stuff in row D. But he might know that I would think that, and so he might send one there as a decoy. But of course, sending a decoy can really throw everything off, which then brings it back to needing the treasures. So it's a very interesting back and forth at the end of the game. I really enjoyed that part of it. I guess if the whole game was based about that, this would be one of my favorite two-player games ever. As it is, this is a fantastic game, and we give it 2 thumbs or hooks or whatever you might have up. Arrgh!
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.